5 perspective drawing hacks to create better art, at least art that's better than Boxman's.
And don't tell me that's just your art style again. Look at your sister, she's becoming a proficient draftsman.
Excuse me, I am a girl.
Sorry, draftswoman. Anyways, let's get on with this. This is something that I've been banging on about for a while now. Perspective grids are so useful. If you follow me on Patreon, you'll know that with each tutorial I create there, I also provide a perspective grid along with a basic form which blocks out the subject that I'm drawing. We'll get to that in a moment. This is a great starting point for anyone wanting to skip the setup and jump right into drawing. I made a video a few weeks back explaining how to set up one of these grids, so check that out if you're interested. They're very useful, especially when it comes to a drawing in which one or both of your vanishing points are off the page. Without a grid, it's hard to judge the direction of your lines, because as you know through the many videos that I've made on the topic, all of your lines converge to vanishing points. Having a set of grid lines across the page which you know are directed to those points means that you can confidently draw in a line with them, knowing that your lines are placed correctly. Don't be like Boxman, who tried drawing with an extra long ruler. You're not going to reach those vanishing points.
Just create some perspective grids digitally, scale them up and print them out. Now, I'm aware that a lot of you watching are aspiring artists, right? You want to create nice drawings and paintings and might not have any experience with 3D modeling software. However, I had to mention it here because it's such a valuable resource and a means of reference if you are planning a drawing in perspective.
For example, SketchUp, that's free to use, right? Or at least there's a free version online. Or even Blender, that's a popular open source modelling software which honestly can do so much. But the reason why 3D models are useful is because within this software you are essentially operating a virtual camera as you move around the model space. Now if you've watched any of my advanced perspective drawing videos, you'll know that I make an effort to emulate a camera when setting up a drawing. There's a lot involved in doing this, and if you're interested in all of that, you can check those videos out, but to put it simply, you can position a camera in this software and view the subject, your model, on any angle you like. And in doing this, we establish a horizon line along with some vanishing points. This could be a starting point for you to then construct a perspective grid.
How detailed you decide to make your models is really up to you, but depending on your skill level, you can develop them as much as you like and then view it on any angle you like and then use that as the basis for then creating a drawing by hand.
Obviously, if you're quite experienced setting up a drawing in perspective by hand already, then you can do this stuff without the need of a computer, but it's a useful hack for those that need that extra assistance, like, well, you know. Throughout many of my perspective drawing videos and tutorials that I've made over the years, one thing you'll often see me do is block out the subject. No matter what it is that I'm drawing, I start by thinking about how the subject can be condensed down to more basic forms such as boxes and cylinders. The kind of volumes that are easier to construct and position in perspective.
This is a much more manageable approach as opposed to jumping right in and trying to draw more complicated forms in detail. In fact, it's really how you should approach any technical drawing.
You want to make sure that before you start focusing on any details, that the object you are drawing is placed correctly in perspective. I refer to this as blocking out because these basic forms represent the object in its simplest form. Sometimes it doesn't even start to look like what I'm drawing until I begin to develop more complex forms within the basic forms, and this leads me onto my next hack. When I'm constructing these basic forms, I always make an effort to draw through them, meaning that I draw all of the form's edges so that all of the faces are visible as well. It's essentially a wireframe. That's the term that's used when dealing with 3D models. Most software lets you turn this on to view the entire model in that way. The reason this is so useful is because within these wireframes, you're able to then construct more complex forms. If you can see all sides and edges of a basic form, you are able to easily use them as a guide for drawing within, all whilst knowing that what you are drawing is correctly being drawn in perspective.
This next hack is not really a hack, but more so a technique, one that I've demonstrated on the channel many times before, but it's very useful, so it just had to be here. It's a method for division and duplication.
So here I have two rectangles that I've divided up. The one to the left is a two-dimensional front view, whilst the one on the right is in perspective. To duplicate this rectangle, start by extending out the top and bottom line. Now from the bottom corner, extend another line which crosses that midway point at the side of the rectangle. This is why I had previously divided this up. Continue this line until it meets this line at the top. Where it does meet this is the point at which I can then draw in another line for the side of the duplicated rectangle. Now let's do the same in perspective. You can also do this in either direction. The reason it's so useful is because it also accounts for the foreshortening that occurs when viewing planes in perspective. Notice how this appears smaller than the one that is further towards the front. This technique always comes in handy when I'm creating perspective drawings.
Now here's a bonus hack, my Patreon page.
Sorry, that's a very shameful plug. Also, it's not really a hack, is it? But hey, if you found this video useful, I'm sure you'll find everything that I create over there just as useful.
With all that being said, thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.